Will dropping one-word Ofsted grades make it harder for parents to choose the best schools?
I don't believe we can capture everything a school does, the things that work well, the areas for improvement in one word.
Welcome back. This is our first programme back after the summer break. MPs are also back in Parliament to what Labour is promising is going to be an extremely busy legislative schedule. So we're delighted that we've persuaded two MPs to grace our studios today and, of course, our two other guests as well. Let's start with a big announcement, actually, that Labour has made to start the new term, and that is that one-word Ofsted grades for schools in England are to be scrapped. Who benefits most from this change, Sarah, parents or schools?
I think everyone will benefit. At the moment, 90% of schools are either good or outstanding. And as someone with 3 kids in a secondary school, it's quite hard to make a judgment about a school just from one single word. But most importantly, it does nothing to drive up standards. And that has to be at the heart of everything that we're going to be doing. So what we're announcing today is in line with what was in our manifesto, what Bridget Phillipson announced last year as well at party conference, that we're going to get rid of this single word and have a scorecard so that people can really see what they are looking at, what the view is of Ofsted in a more sympathetic,
You've always been able to do
way.
you've always been able to do that, though, haven't you, Sarah? Because although has been this one word, as you say, outstanding, good, requires improvement or inadequate, there is a full report that parents can read.
There is a full report, but I think everybody focuses on the one word. And as I said, 90% of all schools are good or outstanding. So it doesn't really give you any particular detail. Now, if you're a parent, for example, with a child with special needs, we want the scorecard to give you a bit more of a flavour and a bit more of a sense of how good that school is when it comes to judging special needs. And I should say that nearly 8 in 10 parents think a scorecard is a better system. I think parents are perfectly able to look at a bit more complexity and look at a little bit more detail and make a judgment. But this is about improving standards. That is the driving force behind this.
Education unions and the teaching profession have welcomed the changes. Jessie, do you?
I actually think this particular change is a sensible one, yes. I think the idea that you could summarise an entire school's capability in one word is obviously not something that stands a moment's scrutiny. And obviously, if the effect of this is to nudge parents into engaging more deeply with the reports that are already done or with the future scorecard, then that's probably a better way to build a deeper understanding of what the school's really about and what it stands for. So I think there's plenty of other aspects of education policy I would question, but I think this is probably sensible.
I mean, Damien Hines, former Education Secretary, Conservative Education Secretary, has said actually it takes away some of the simplicity on offer to parents when they are looking at schools. Do you think he's got a point?
I think simplicity is important, but I think this was overly simplistic for something that is really quite complex. I mean, so not only have we got the issue that most schools are good or outstanding, the other issue is that every child's needs are quite different. And so if you're a parent of 3 children, each of those 3 children, you might be looking for a very different school with a very different offering. So I think, simplicity, if you get it on the side of A4, your scorecard, so you're not really asking parents to do too much thinking about those nuances, but the information is there for them. And then it's all the other aspects of Ofsted. What are we going to do with them to ensure that they're doing proper investigations, that schools aren't putting on, great shows that aren't really showing the full gamut of what is available, and that we are really offering the opportunity to improve for kids.
Is this an improvement, Henry?
I mean, it depends how they do it. I think the thing is that there's actually it's not an either or proposition. You could have a scorecard and what is effectively a grade, right? We say one word, but it is a grade. Now, you could make it more granular. If sort of 90% of schools are in the top 2, you could introduce more of them. But we don't, in regular schooling, assume that you can't assign a single score that is indicative of someone's performance. If we give a child an A or a B, that obviously doesn't capture the vast richness and detail of their understanding of a particular subject's different areas, but we still accept it as a sign of how good they are at maths.
But on,
right?
on,
so, no,
on that point, I think that's an interesting point. I was just going to say one thing, which is in terms of your GCSEs, you wouldn't give one score to a pupil for their whole GCSEs. You've got the different marks, and I think the scorecard is a similar prospect.
It depends on how the scorecard is done. The fact that the unions are in favour of it makes me slightly suspicious, because some of them are generally quite hostile to testing in general and the sort of information that has historically given parents the information they need. But I just think for a lot of parents, it's very easy for people in Westminster who are policy people to think, this is actually a relatively concise bit of information. But an awful lot of voters who aren't used to engaging in policy, maybe that one-word grade is a helpful indicator.
But parents are also in favour of it. The Parents Teachers Association, overall, they're in favour of it as well. So I think everyone's realised that this isn't really giving parents all the information they need when making a big decision.
Right, let's move on to the new government.